In the words of Dwight D. Eisenhower, "You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you." The gravity of D-Day, the largest seaborne invasion in history, cannot be overstated. It was a day when the tides of World War II were set to turn, a day that marked the beginning of the end of a global conflict that had consumed millions of lives and reshaped the world's geopolitical landscape. The beaches of Normandy, France, were the stage for this pivotal event. The world had been waiting, preparing, and hoping for this moment. The meticulous planning, the sleepless nights, the agonizing anticipation, and the indomitable spirit of the troops were all leading up to this. And as the clock ticked towards the dawn of June 6, 1944, the world held its breath. It was a day that would forever be etched in the annals of history. The world held its breath as the dawn of June 6, 1944 approached. Rewind to the early 1940s, the world is at war. The globe was gripped in the throes of the Second World War, a brutal conflict that stretched from the shores of the Pacific to the heart of Europe. Germany, under the leadership of Adolf Hitler, had embarked on a path of aggressive expansion and by 1940 had overrun much of Western Europe. The United Kingdom was the only major power still defiantly holding out against the Nazi onslaught. In the East, the Soviet Union was locked in a bitter struggle with Germany. The Eastern Front was a war of attrition, consuming vast resources and resulting in heavy casualties. The Soviets had been urging their Western allies to open a second front in Europe to alleviate the pressure on them, but where would this second front be? The answer lay in Normandy, a region in northwestern France. It was strategically important due to its proximity to the UK across the English Channel. The Allies saw the potential of launching an amphibious invasion here to break the German stranglehold on Western Europe. But it was not going to be an easy task. The Germans had fortified the French coastline as part of the Atlantic Wall, a series of heavy defenses designed to thwart any Allied invasion. Normandy in particular was heavily defended with concrete fortifications, landmines, artillery, and machine gun nests. The Allies knew they were up against a formidable enemy and that they needed to plan meticulously for the invasion. The planning for D-Day, codenamed Operation Overlord, began in earnest. It was a massive undertaking, involving millions of soldiers from various countries, thousands of ships, and a fleet of aircraft. It was a complex operation, involving land, air, and sea forces, and required precise coordination. The scale of the operation was unprecedented, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The stage was set for a battle that would change the course of history. The Allies were about to embark on a mission that would not only test their mettle, but also shape the future of the world. The countdown to D-Day had begun. The planning of Operation Overlord was a feat of military strategy. This was not just a battle. It was an intricately designed master plan that would turn the tide of World War II. The architects behind this grand design were the Allied forces, with key figures such as General Dwight D. Eisenhower playing a crucial role. This operation was a testament to meticulous planning and strategic genius. It involved a complex interplay of land, sea, and air forces, each with a specific role to play. The coordination required was immense. Every detail, from the timing of the tides to the weather conditions, was taken into account. The scale of the operation was beyond anything that had been attempted before. It was a daring plan, fraught with risks and uncertainties, but it was born out of necessity, out of the need to open a second front in Western Europe, to relieve pressure on the Eastern Front, and to begin the daunting task of liberating occupied Europe. The stage was set, the players in place. The world was about to witness a pivotal moment in history. As darkness fell on June 5, 1944, the night air was filled with the hum of aircraft engines. The eve of invasion had arrived and the world held its breath. Thousands of paratroopers and glider troops were preparing to descend into the darkness, their mission critical to the success of Operation Overlord. Their goal was to secure key bridges, disrupt enemy communications, and sow chaos in the German ranks, all under the cloak of night. Imagine the tension aboard those aircraft, the hushed whispers, the final checks of equipment. For many, it was their first taste of combat. The flight over the English Channel must have felt like an eternity. The coastline of occupied France, a menacing shadow on the horizon. The drop zones were a melee of gunfire and confusion. Paratroopers landed scattered and disoriented, far from their intended targets. Yet, despite these challenges, they pressed on, their determination unwavering. As dawn approached, the fate of the free world hung in the balance. The morning of June 6, 1944, marked the beginning of the end of World War II. As dawn broke, the Allied forces launched an ambitious amphibious assault on the beaches of Normandy. The objective was clear, yet daunting: to establish a foothold in Western Europe and set the stage for the downfall of Nazi Germany. 5 beaches, each with its own codename and unique challenges, were the targets of this massive operation. Omaha and Utah assaulted by American troops, Golden Sword, where British soldiers fought, and Juno, the landing site for the Canadians. Each beach holds countless tales of heroism, sacrifice, and resilience. Let's take Omaha, for instance. American forces there faced a daunting task. The beach was heavily fortified and the resistance was fierce. Yet despite the odds, they persevered, displaying extraordinary courage under fire. There were countless acts of heroism that day, like that of Private First Class Carlton Barrett. Despite being wounded, he continued to carry messages between the beachhead and command posts, often under intense enemy fire. Over at Juno Beach, Canadian forces faced similar challenges. They had to cross a wide expanse of open beach under withering fire. Yet they too prevailed, pushing further inland than any other landing force on D-Day. One such story is that of Lieutenant Bill McCormick, who despite being wounded led his men to secure a key objective, contributing significantly to the overall success of the mission. Each landing, each story paints a vivid picture of the chaos, courage, and indomitable human spirit on that fateful day. They were ordinary men, thrust into an extraordinary situation, facing down the horrors of war with courage and resolve. Their stories remind us of the extraordinary lengths that people can go to when they are fighting for something bigger than themselves. The beaches of Normandy were a scene of chaos, courage, and indomitable human spirit. Their stories remind us of the high price of freedom and the immense courage it takes to secure it. Victory on D-Day was anything but guaranteed. The Allied forces faced immense challenges as they confronted well-fortified German positions. The Germans had constructed extensive defensive works, including concrete bunkers, barbed wire, and landmines, transforming the beaches of Normandy into a deadly maze. One such place was Omaha Beach, where the struggle for victory was particularly fierce. The American troops landing there met devastating machine gun fire from the bluffs overlooking the beach. The combination of strong defenses, rough seas, and initial missteps turned Omaha into a bloody battleground. But the Allied forces were determined. They had to adapt quickly to the battlefield, improvise, and show remarkable courage under fire. They fought for every inch of the beach, and slowly they began to make progress. Despite the heavy losses, they managed to breach the German defenses. Despite the odds, the Allied forces pressed on, inching closer to victory. The tide began to turn. As dawn broke on the beaches of Normandy, the Allies, against steep odds, began to push forward. The fortified German positions were formidable, but the sheer determination and courage of the Allied soldiers started to make a difference. The landings, though chaotic and costly, had achieved their objective of securing a foothold. Now it was time for the next phase, advancing inland. The soldiers, undeterred by the initial resistance, moved with unwavering resolve towards the German defenses. It was a Herculean task, but the Allies rose to the occasion. The role of naval and air support in this phase cannot be overstated. The continuous bombardment of German positions from the sea and the sky played a pivotal role in weakening the enemy's resolve. This concerted effort from land, air, and sea was the turning point of the D-Day invasion. From this moment, the liberation of Western Europe had begun. The joy of victory was steeped in the sorrow of loss. The cost of freedom was indeed a high one. D-Day, while a crucial turning point in World War II, was marked by a human toll that is impossible to overlook. Thousands upon thousands of brave souls, both from the Allies and the German forces, fell on the beaches of Normandy that day. Stories of heroism and sacrifice permeate the annals of this historic event. Men, barely out of their teens, charging into the face of danger, knowing well that they might not return. They fought with courage, with resolve, with the unwavering belief that their actions would shape the course of history. They gave their today for our tomorrow. Their sacrifice must never be forgotten. Imagine a world where D-Day had not succeeded. The failure of this monumental operation could have drastically altered the course of World War II. The liberation of Western Europe might have been postponed, prolonging the conflict and leading to a greater loss of life and resources. The subsequent push towards Berlin, the end of the war in Europe and the world as we know it today, might have been strikingly different. The successful landing on D-Day was a pivotal moment that shaped our world. D-Day was more than a single day in history. It was the dawn of a new era, a turning point in World War II that set the stage for the liberation of Western Europe. The immediate impact was a tremendous morale boost for the Allies and a crushing blow to the Axis powers. In the long term, it paved the way for the push towards Berlin and the eventual end of the war. Today, D-Day is remembered not just as a military triumph, but as a defining moment of heroism, sacrifice, and unity against a common foe. It's commemorated around the world with ceremonies, films, books, and more. In the annals of history, D-Day stands as a testament to the courage and resilience of the human spirit. The echoes of D-Day still resonate today. This monumental chapter in history reverberates with tales of sacrifice, resilience, and victory. I encourage you to delve deeper into the annals of D-Day, to further explore its profound impact. Remember D-Day, for it is the story of freedom's triumph against all odds.